What do you do when you feel behind in your career or in your life? You know that quiet panic that creeps in, and then there's this sudden realization or sadness that envelopes you and overwhelms you when you feel like you are behind. You scroll online, you compare yourself, you see what your mates are doing, you question everything, and suddenly wonder if you've been wasting your time or if you've missed the mark completely. Sometimes that's a good realization because you may need to upskill and improve, but in many cases, that's not it. And it means different things to different people. Let's unpack that. Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. Today we are talking about what to do when you feel behind in your career or in your life. So I'll talk on general points and then I'll share actionable tips on how to fix things. First of all, whose timeline are you even following? We need to talk about this. While it's great to be audacious and ambitious, I'm very ambitious myself. A lot of this pressure that we feel comes from invincible timelines that we set for ourselves. By 25, I should be earning six figures. By 30, I should be a manager, married with two kids. By now, I should have figured it all out. Breathe. While all of these timelines, we've set for ourselves might be okay or look okay, where did they come from? What's the source? What's the origin? Is it from society, from social media? Is it from family and friends? If you feel behind, always pause and ask yourself, compared to what? Compared to who? Like, are you in a race with somebody else? In life, you should always remind yourself of what your own goals, your own life or career goals are whenever you feel this way. You should also ask yourself if you are now using other people's timelines and no longer your own timeline and goals. Let's say you're a 29-year-old transitioning into tech after teaching or let's say doing business for 8 years and you already feel behind. My dear, if anything, you are brave for making that decision and starting all over. Or you're a 35-year-old and you're deciding that you want to go back to school for your master's program. That's not late. You may actually be aligned because this may be the best time for you to take that education because you now have more clarity, more money, and resources. So, no matter your current situation, focus on your own timeline and your own goals. Comparisons won't do you any good. I know some of you may say the comparisons helps to motivate you, but you and I know, it might do you more harm than good. So even if circumstances may have prevented you from starting or progressing as fast as your peers, the comparisons won't help you. And many times those comparisons won't motivate you either. It would only make you go deeper into your feelings and cause more issues. Now let's zoom out. Seasons exist in careers too. If we accept that life has seasons, yeah, then careers are allowed to have seasons too. It's important you understand the season that you are in. There will be seasons for learning, for building, for pausing, seasons for transitioning, and then seasons for accelerating. The problem is you might be in the planting season, where you're learning, you're building, but you're comparing yourself to someone who is in their harvest season. Of course, it would look like they're ahead, but you're doing the foundational work now. The growth is still happening, even if it's not public yet. The day you plant the seed is not the day that you eat the fruit. So don't panic if your timeline doesn't match someone else's, highlight reel on Instagram or whatever, or LinkedIn. Your season has its own purpose. It's like someone who just started making clothes today or just transitioned to tech today and is feeling behind. The whole time, the person of reference that they are comparing themselves to is someone in their harvest season. You don't know the amount of time and energy that they have put into getting to where they are today. They were once like you in the building and planting phase. So don't compare your learning and building season to someone else's harvest season. Drag your ear and say, I will not do that. Because you will always feel behind. Now, let's say you already feel behind. What can you do? First things first, get clear on what progress looks like for you. Feeling behind often comes from like unclear expectations. So let me just ask you this. What does progress look like for you right now? Like if someone comes to ask you, what are you going to say? Maybe progress looks like finally figuring out what you want, because that's a big deal. Some people don't know what they want, or setting healthy boundaries at work and with people in your family or friends circle, or learning a new skill that stretches you, or recovering from burnout and choosing rest. Yes, that can be one. If you don't even know what progress looks like for you, maybe it's time to do an audit. I made a video about how to do a self audit. Go and watch it. Progress is personal, and when you define it for yourself, you stop chasing everyone else's version of success. Now, if you have been enjoying this video, don't forget to like, subscribe, and share this with someone who needs to hear this. Thank you. So, we talked about getting clear on what progress looks like for you, yeah? After you do that, take an inventory. What have you actually done with your career or your life so far? Sometimes we feel behind because we forget how far we've come. So I want you to pause, just pause and reflect. What challenges have I overcome in the past year? Think about it. What skills have I gained, even outside of work? You think about it. What decisions did I make, that took courage? Write them down. I'm serious. Do this exercise. Because if you don't acknowledge your small wins, your brain will only remember the delays. You may just have been building quietly and never shared your progress or wins anywhere or with anyone. So it's very easy to forget that you're actually growing and improving, because you're feeling like you're behind while you're actually improving, but you don't know. Thirdly, one of the ways to fix things when you feel behind is to identify your trigger points. Quick story time. There was a time I was in my feelings at some point in my career. I had to delete LinkedIn. Yes, I had to delete it. I was like, oh my God, I beg. Let me know where my issues are coming from. Because while it's great to rejoice and, celebrate with people, sometimes those are trigger points. I was not in a good mental state to continue seeing, the back to back announcements. You know how LinkedIn can be. And I was trying to build my life. So I had to take out the trigger points, which was LinkedIn. Some people delete social media as a whole because they don't want to see someone on their 10th trip in Q1 when they haven't even left their city in 5 years. Their passport is very clean, no stamp. This is funny and true, but I like to keep it real on this channel. So, yeah, you know yourself, do what works for you. So identify what triggers that feeling of you are behind. It might seem like a small thing, but you will feel so much peace after you identify those triggers and reduce your exposure to them, or even remove them completely from your life. Stop feeding your insecurities. Also, another side to this is that triggers aren't always digital. They're not always online. Sometimes it's that one friend or that one relative who keeps asking you questions. So what are you doing right now? What's going on in your life? Are you not supposed to be so and so by now? Are you not supposed to be here and here by now? And if you're Nigerian like me, questions like, so when are you getting married? When are you having children? Might come up. This can feel like harmless questions on the surface, but if it leaves you anxious or second guessing yourself, it's a trigger. So here's the takeaway from all these things that I've just mentioned. Pay attention to what drains you or stirs up that feeling of falling behind. Take the steps you need to take to reduce exposure or totally eliminate it, remove it, at least until things begin to shape up in that area of your career or your life. You don't need to explain your boundaries to anyone. You just need to protect them. Protect your mind, protect your peace. It's okay to grow quietly and on your own terms. Now, to the last point of today on what to do when you feel behind. This is change with intention. Now, let me be real. Sometimes the feeling of being behind is a sign that something needs to shift. Like it's actually a good sign. Maybe you're stuck in the wrong role. Maybe you have been playing small. Maybe you're just ready to evolve. You just want to improve and become a new person. And if that's the case, that's okay. Upon realizing this, don't start panicking and then respond immediately. You might make the wrong choices. Give yourself some hours and maybe some days to calm down so that you can deal with it and respond differently with a more calm and level headed approach. So you ask yourself, what needs to change? You know, at this time, especially after you've done your audit, you already know the areas of your career or the areas of your life that need improvement. It'll be clear as day. You won't be confused at all. Sometimes you realize that the feeling of being behind was because you didn't transition to something when there was a boom about that thing, or you accepted a job offer that took you 5 steps behind, or you started a new life as a mother and you're now ready to evolve, and you move to a new country and it seems like you have started from square one again. Whatever the situation is, you need to find out and pinpoint what needs to be changed or what needs to be adjusted. The second question you can ask yourself when you're trying to change is, what does aligned look like for you? Does this change align with the things that you want to do with your life? What will suffer? What will improve? Many times, new decisions will mean new life and new challenges. Are you ready for that? For example, I started this YouTube channel 4 months ago. I had to think about the fact that even though content creation really boomed in 2020, there's still space for me to create my own content, even though I'm starting late in quotes. Some people, have been discouraged from starting something or continuing something because they felt it was too late. I looked at the options that I had and I saw that it aligned with my goals. So I got on it. Like I said, new decisions will mean new life and new challenges. Now I'm shooting and editing videos, a new challenge I didn't bother myself with about 4 months ago. Like, it was not my business at all. So ensure that it is aligned with your overall goals for your life and that you are ready to put the time and resources in this new change you want to embark on. The third question: what's one action I can take this week to move towards that? You need to start taking action. Plan and create a system that never fails. This is how you solidify intentional change. I made a video about setting up systems. You can go and watch it. It gives you a detailed breakdown on how to create a system that will work for you and help you achieve your goal. Speaking of goals, I also have a video where I talk about setting actionable goals. Go and watch it as well. So these three questions are the perfect way to start moving towards a change in your career or in your life. Don't forget, you are allowed to pivot, you're allowed to start all over again, but do it intentionally. Even if you're panicking, please ensure that you're calm and clear headed before you do this exercise. So today we've talked about following your own timeline and not a timeline set by others or set by you through unnecessary comparisons. We've also talked about seasons and times in your career and in your life. Then we've gone ahead to discuss, we talked about the clear steps to take and do if you currently feel behind. So my final thoughts are, your journey is not a race. Your career is not a race. Your life is not a race. So the next time you feel behind, you have to just remind yourself, like, I don't need to rush. I just need to move with purpose. Like, even if you want to move fast, make sure that you're moving with purpose. You're growing, even on days it doesn't seem like it. So be kind to yourself and be patient with your journey. So guys, if this video has helped you, let me know in the comments. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and share this with someone who needs to hear it. I'll see you in the next video. Bye.